with the process, it really brings out and drives program ownership. So it asks a lot of the athlete, and it's a sort of a process that you'll get more out of it if you put more into it. Like how much the athlete invests in it will be how much the coach can invest into it. So, help will kind of find those who help themselves. So it really asks the player to take a driver's seat in their program, and that starts with handing the cards to the player and not the coach telling them what they're good at or not so good at. Straight away that they're in the driver's seat, they've got to take the wheel. There's no other way of doing it. I think there's a lot of benefits in this process. One of them is just getting to know the person in front of you, and I use that word deliberately, person. I think that's a real key aspect for me is who's the person that I'm dealing with, and that gives me really good information around how I go about coaching them in different contexts. Because I think every player is a person first and foremost, and there's individuality, and they've all got unique differences in the way they see the world and how they see themselves. And the more information I can get on that, the better I can adapt my coaching style to fit the person in front of me. I think it's more well-rounded than other processes, and that's a real uniqueness. And I think it really puts the athlete at the center. What it does, it gives you a lot of information, but by the end of it, you're quite clear on where the priorities lie. I think that's kind of the main thing. It starts really wide with everything, but it finishes really narrow, that this is all I need to worry about. So it all sort of filters down. And I think that with the priorities, like often it's just around understanding which is the right lever to pull that can have an influence on different areas. So I think that's been probably the biggest benefit is people are spending a lot of time on an area that they're not getting a lot of return essentially for their investment, whereas they can spend a little bit more time in area A, but it will have a flow-on effect in improving area B, C, D. So sort of working the way through that and understanding where's the focus areas and what's going to have the biggest impact for our time is a really powerful way of doing it. And especially when I'm working with the younger athletes, they're not professional athletes. They've got a whole lot of things happening in their life. So if they're going to spend an hour on something, it has to be the most important thing that's going to give them the biggest return for their time. I think the process can, because it starts, again, like it starts with a focus on the person, and that immediately removes some of the barriers and I guess some of the barriers or the walls up that we get with players or coaches, where it's just a hockey talk and they're always feeling like, I think with athletes, always feeling like we're getting judged. When you're on the training field and the coach is watching, you always feel like they're judging or they're rating you and seeing how well you're going or not. And I think when we sit down and immediately there's a conversation around them as a person and life and all these other things, it straight away moves away from this is a hockey talk where I'm going to give you a rating out of 10, and the player gets to do the talking. So I think immediately the process just pulls down some of those barriers. The process, allows me to get to know the individuals a lot quicker. So I can get to that point faster, which will then in turn be able to get me to understand the collective as a culture or an environment. And it can often, the better I understand the individuals, I can understand how they can fit into that culture, and we can see where are the themes of strengths that we've got within the group around characteristics and where are we maybe sometimes lacking and need to spend more time.